Welcome to the Crane Connection. I am your host, Sarah Snell Cooke, and today I'm sitting down with Legg, founder and CEO of Thrive Strategic Services. We're talking about something that sounds a little bit intimidating, but it actually can be quite simple when you're using your data to stop members from wanting to pull their hair out. Anne's got a great white paper on data AI priorities, but don't worry, this isn't one of those let's buy cool tech because it's shiny conversations. We're talking real solutions. Why members abandon loan applications, how to fix your call center NPS without a complete overhaul, why trust is the new currency. Plus, Anne's got stories about Ukrainians doing this right. Real use cases, including one with a chatbot so good that members forget she's not real. If you want to make 2026 the year of more member awesome, this one's for you. Get into it. Hello, everybody. My name is Sarah Snell Cooke. Of course, I am your host here at the Crane Connection. I have with me today the lovely Anne Legg. Welcome.
Thank you, thank you. I'm so excited and so quite honored actually to be here, Sarah. This is a joy.
We are the ones who are honored, for
Oh,
sure.
yay!
So, Anne, I reached out to you. Well, first talk about a little bit about your background and your company, Thrive Strategic Services.
Absolutely. So there's so much that's going on in the world right now, and so much of it's focused on what, A, and I, right?
Mm,
And as Koreans look at that, the biggest thing they need to do is they need to have two things to be successful in anything that's going on with AI, with data, with technology. They need to have capability and they need to have strategy. And that's what Thrive does. We help build up capability, whether it is going to be education, filling gaps. We have the only CPE accredited education course on how to activate your data, or it's building out that strategy piece, which is saying, hey, help me and figure out holistically what we need to do for the member to be able to really ratchet up our engagement, our growth, our efficiency, our productivity, and let's make sure we have an operational structure around that.
yes, that sounds like a lot of fun. No, seriously.
No, actually, you know what? Let's put a total fine point on it. You're right, because right then you're like, that was a lot of words. Okay, so what exactly does no, but it's true. Like what give me so for example, your credit union and I'm gonna give an example of a credit union where they had a not desirable NPS score in their call center. And they were like, wow, we're not sure where to start with that. So great, let's get in there. Let's understand what that pain point is. Turns out that in this particular credit union, as members were coming in, they were actually talking about card disputes. All right. So the member language is my card's broken, my card's not working, I don't see a thing I like. They don't use the word dispute. So the members coming into the credit union and the first thing they're looking for is who do I contact? And they don't find cards, they find call center. So already coming in tick, then the call center has to figure out, okay, let me quickly do some vetting and then I got to get you over to cards. So first thing we do is realize, you know what? Hey, let's figure out how do you get in, where's if it's going to come in from the call center, if it's the website, let's fix the
Mhm.
language. But then let's also find out what's going on else with the member because for so long we thought the reason the members were coming into the call center was to get balances. That wasn't even in the top 10. It
No.
was car disputes. Exactly. So we started realizing, well, then here's some stuff we can start to redirect. So you come in, said member, you're going to go right to what you want, when you want it, and how you want it. Now, that was a lot. And you're like, that's cool. I get what you did with your data and I get what you did with the member experience. Here's the magic part. We made that whole change, identification, identifying the friction. That's what we call it when the member has an issue doing business with the credit union, getting in and starting to build the fix and got the whole thing locked and loaded and done and started measuring for success in 6 weeks.
Hmm. And that's fast turnaround. Yeah, a lot of times it's like you might get a paper at the end of the year that says,
Right. The credit union
whatever, that's
said,
already out of date. Yeah.
yeah, and they already said that it would have taken them at least 6 months. So the whole point here is looking at all that gorgeousness that the credit union does right now and saying, how do we unlock more growth, more efficiency, and
Hmm.
more, let's be super technical about it. Member awesome.
Hmm.
Don't
And
need us.
I love everything you said, but 2 points in particular. One, I think, is speaking the members' language. I mean, NSF. I don't know if I worked in banking if I knew what that would be, you know?
Yeah.
Um, but also the member experience is more important. This has been something I've been driving home. It's more important than your rates. as long as you're competitive, your member experience has to be superior. And
Yes.
that's really what the modern consumer is tracking down for themselves. And
Right.
you want to say something? It looks like I'll stop.
Oh, sorry. Okay. So when I think about that, right, and I'm going to use language, I'm going to say, I will be forgiving to you, said credit union, if I see that that you trust me and I trust you. It's
Mhm.
trust is a currency. So I'll give a little more forgiveness, but it's got to be made up in trust that you're like, you get me, you see me, and that you understand what I'm trying to do. And let me just anchor on a very simple thing here. The member only comes to the credit union to get four problems solved. And you're like, that seems really easy. The member literally has a shelter problem. They need rent or mortgage. They have a transportation problem. They do not walk around the world and going, I need an auto loan. They need an auto. They have a
Mhm.
travel play problem. That's going to be your credit card, your debit card. They really do. They're like, I need to go travel. I need to play. However you put that box, right? And then the last one is going to be rainy day and retirement. They don't need all those at the same time. They're just coming in to get those things. So please understand this is why they're coming to you. Understand how you can speak their language and understand how you can make trust a currency. And to do all
Mhm.
that, you are really going to need capability and strategy, and it's going to have to be around that gorgeous stuff you have a lot of, which is your data.
Right, right, absolutely. And trust, of course, you hit the nail on the head too, there because it means something entirely different than it did pre-COVID or even before that, really. It's not only trust you to keep my money safe, it's trust you to serve me in the way I want to be served. Is your technology going to work at 11 p.m. at night when my car broke down and I need a tow truck? That kind of thing.
100%.
Hmm.
Which is funny because that's why, as I was been having the great joy of helping credit unions do this, was when I started realizing, oh my gosh, next year's kind of a crazy year, which is why I put together the white paper. I was like,
Right, yes.
it's gonna be bonkers. And I don't mean that in a good way. I'm just gonna say economically interesting is the best way I can, that's the best word.
Interesting, yes. Yeah.
Okay. So as we think about that, how do we help our members? And that's when I realized I was like, really, it just comes down to kind of like thinking about it and not that you have to have like this massive plan for next year because we don't have time for that, but just understanding technology is here. What do you do with it? How are you going to drive? What are you going to measure to improve
Hmm.
life, right? What are those small tweaks you're going to do? And then how do you make sure that that becomes something that you can ongoing measure? And
Hmm.
with that, and I'm just going to say it, you're going to change a little bit. It's not going to be painful. It's not going to be painful. It's just going to be little changes. Like, like instead of reaching for the donut, I reach for the apple. And at some point I get happy and I constantly reach for the apple. It's that type of stuff, right? And that's the stuff that I want to, that's why I put the white paper together. I was like, that's the stuff you guys need to be chatting about.
Exactly. The white paper is on um, data and AI priorities. I'm shocked. I'm shocked. Data and AI. Who knew? Who knew those were important things? No, but seriously, and there are six themes, six kind of principles you built from the paper. So talk a little bit about those.
Yeah. So I think the hard part is if I'm a credit union, and this is what I was kind of, listening and hearing a lot of was, I'm not exactly sure where to start because I feel like the chaos has just somebody lit the fire in the chaos machine and it's just spewing and I don't know how to focus. So I was like, okay, let's think about it in just like two buckets of three. So technology, what are you doing? Where do you want to go, right? AI is not going to fix your problems and it's definitely not going to fix your data problem. But activated data is going to unlock your AI potential. Okay.
Mm.
So, like, let's think, okay, there's a member problem I have. My member auto loans, right? I have a transportation problem. How am I helping with that? Let's pick out shelter. There's conversation now of having a 50-year mortgage. Whew. Okay, so there's a lot of pieces in here. So let's think about what those are. What's the data I need? And then what's the technology I need? Notice how I went member first to build out that strategy. Okay, so that goes, so number one, technology. It's there. What are you thinking about and how are you thinking about it? Two, then as you think about it, how are you going to move efficiency and growth? That is very much tied to how you're going to operationalize that data and that technology. So I'm good now. I'm thinking, and I'm like, I want to help the members problem here. I got to have the right technology that's going to start. I want to see, is it going to help me with FTE? I want to see if it's going to help me with whatever my other KPIs are. But the third on that first bucket is member-centric innovation. All of this goes around where am I, right? Where's that member? How
Mm.
am I trying like you said, how do I understand them to the best that I can with what I have? What is my technology? And then how is that driving overall KPIs? Because if I improve the member's life, I'm going to improve our life. But I got to be firm about that. So those are like
Hmm.
bucket one. Okay. Bucket two then says, okay, now let's start thinking a little bit around what is that engagement and community, right? How do members see this? How does this work? Your members give you friction. They will tell you why something's not working. For example, cart abandonment. They apply for a loan and they drop away. They will tell you when the friction is. That friction is fuel. And we want to use that to leverage the data. Okay, so let's be clear about this. So breaking point, I see that there's app drop off. Okay, why? Why is there drop? So let's not just grab that data because I think it's kind of fun. Let's put it together and make it something bigger than a dashboard. Let's make it a data story.
Right.
Your members are telling you something very important, right? Like you said earlier, hey, it's 11 o'clock at night. I'm not going to wait till 8 o'clock in the morning sitting on the side of my road with my car broken. I want to have the ability to talk to somebody right now or have the plan to start moving right away. So, engagement and community, how's it looking? What's the friction feedback? How do I get my story around that? How am I going to improve the members' lives with that gorgeous data? And then that brings us back to the final point here, number six, change and adaptability. Like I mentioned, apples versus, donuts, but credit unions who can act small and impactfully are the ones who win the member.
Hmm.
Who are waiting for the perfect conditions, you might as well just bye-bye. It's
Hmm.
unfortunate, but we cannot no longer standing still is an option. It hasn't been for a long time. But the future belongs to those Canadians who act now in small increment ways that
Right.
are very measurable and going back to defending why are you doing this are the ones who are going to win the members. So
Yeah.
that's kind of those six. Again, let me just kind of bring those back into the circle back up. So your first three are going to be your technology, your efficiency and growth, and member centricity. Like why, right? Then the next piece is going to be that community engagement using the data for data stories so that you can change and become more awesome.
More awesome.
More
I think
awesome.
that's the way we need to phrase it. Absolutely. No, and I was totally going to make that point too, that the data is showing you a story, and you just have to be ready to receive it, too, because I feel like, all these things are huge words, efficiency and growth and technological transformation. It's all could be so overwhelming, but I like your point about doing it incrementally,
Yes.
too. Yeah.
And let's talk about starting points. Like we highlight these areas, these six areas, right? But when you boil it down, it's a conversation. And that conversation really has to be, where are we today? What
Hmm.
are we measuring? What are the gaps? Like, let's just today, we know today. Okay. Then how will we measure our impact? What does success look like? What does more member awesome look like? What does that look like? Where do we want to be, right? Because that's going to help us get there. And then finally, hey, okay, if I know where I am today and where I want to be, then what are my gaps?
Hmm.
And many of those are going to be capability. And this is where we can get really focused, all right? Is it a data capability? Is it technology capability? Is it maybe data literacy? Like, how do we take that data and do good stuff with it? Maybe it's just kind of part of our culture and we're like a little resistant. It happens. So, those are the three things to be having the conversation, the focused conversation. Where are we today? Where do we want to be? Especially member focused. Then what would we need? And again, like you said, just laser it down to things that you can feel confident about because you can't make change if you don't feel confident about what you're doing.
Absolutely, 100%. Love it. Love it. So, why what are you hearing from credit unions about this? About like what's been the feedback as far as you said you've talked with a lot of board members as we were talking ahead of time. What are you hearing from them as far as the biggest questions, concerns, what have you?
So I think this year it has been, I know I want, I know I want more, right? There's just been this push of I want more. And many times we're looking at it and we're like, I want more from AI. Because we see these amazing productivity pieces, but then we think, oh my gosh, we're a highly regulated space. I can't just like, what if something freaky happens and PII gets out and it shouldn't, right? So, what I am hearing around data and AI is I'm not sure. I know I want it, but I'm not sure why. And
Mm-hmm.
I want to tie that real tightly. If you have no why, you have no ROI. Please do not buy something because it's cool. We don't got time for that. Member doesn't have time for that. And what we want is we want something that that member friction, that pain point where you're like, oh, for example, talking about the NPS, talking about disputes. Hey, wow, wouldn't it be great if we had a chatbot that could just handle that the member says, I have this issue, and they just start right away going to solve because they know exactly those are the key words. They've listened, they've done sentiment analysis because they have all the recordings, and they can think about it and go, ah, this is exactly where I take you. And if not, circle back out. In fact, there's a credit union in California. This is so cool. They are education based. And so they made their chatbot in the personality of one of their very founding members, who's, oh, her name was like Dora or something, just so awesome and like so educator, that she's so good out there that they have to remind their members that she's actually not real.
Wow, that's impressive.
Right. And that's where we want to be. Like, that's a really good anchor moment to look at that and go, I want my relationship to be with you so that it's just an extension of what we do. And that you begin to go, oh, okay. And be like, let me get you to an actual human. Dora's awesome. Dora's fabulous. But yeah, that's how we need to start thinking about it. And not be scared about it, but just give ourselves the confidence points. We did this, we made this change. I mean, a super, like I love how you can use call center data because it's so awesome. You got sentiment, it's rich, you can tie it back to the member, you can see what their relationship is, all that's goodness. But let's go super easy, super easy. Let's just say I have all those standard operating procedures, job aids, whichever, and I'm hoping that the lowest paid person in my organization knows all 900 of them or knows where to find them. So why don't I put that in a knowledge base in a chatbot so I can use natural language? And of course, this is me using natural language because I'm typing. To find out, hey, how do I do that check hold? What is the la la la? Great. And then why don't I just have those documents, those Word documents, then be cleaned up? And so I'm constantly using the most current version. That's awesome. That's not something scary. That's something you have tons of data already. There are great tools out there that will get you feeling so much better about what you're doing and helping you save time and improving member experience.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure. And you're testing and doing it at, and improving the member experience at the same time. That's
Exactly.
awesome.
Exactly.
So we are coming to the end here, and I'm gonna miss you. Um,
One
and
more thing I know.
I always allow my guests to have final thoughts. What would you like to leave our credit union professional audience with?
Well, I guess, like I said, those three questions are really, really quite important. But I would like them to be thinking about at the end of 2026, what do I want to make more clear for my member and for my team member? How do I want to have more momentum? And how do I want to literally measure more member awesomeness?
Mm, awesome. 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 Cool. Thank you so much for your time and your insights, and appreciate it.
Thank you.